I'm sure the Cabinet Secretary will agree with me that for the foreseeable future, the resources available to the Welsh Government depend crucially upon the health of the UK economy and economic growth. And we need to increase the national UK growth rate. He said to me in a debate in this chamber a few weeks ago that there's no evidence in general lower taxes boost growth, but since then the US Senate has passed a tax bill to reduce corporate taxes from 35% to 20%. President Macron in France has announced plans to cut the corporate tax rate from 33% to 25%. Italy is going to cut its corporate taxes from 27% to 24%. Spain from 30% to 25%. Hungary has introduced a corporate flat tax rate of 9%, down from 19%, and in Geneva, because it's cantonally based in Switzerland, they're bringing corporate taxes down to 10%. Now, John McDonnell has recently been talking about taking £36 billion out of companies' balance sheets by blocking certain unannounced tax breaks, and he even floated the idea of adding 2.5% to the current corporation tax rate to pay for scrapping tuition fees. Does he not accept that the Labour Party is going in the opposite direction to the rest of the world? And if we're to compete with economies abroad, we have to have a competitive business tax regime.
Well, so with what I hear the member describe is a competitive race to the bottom, in which everybody thinks that the only way to get a competitive advantage over somebody else is to take even less tax away from business in order to pay for public services. I'm grateful to him for setting out that dismal league table, because it demonstrates exactly why I don't think that that is a sensible way for us to go.
Well, I'm sorry that the Cabinet Secretary doesn't seem to think that the reality of what's going on in the rest of the world is something that should be at the forefront of his mind when he's designing a tax system for the United Kingdom or for Wales, because the way to end up at the bottom is certainly to carry on thinking along those lines. And to revert to the experimental tax case that Susie Davis mentioned earlier on in relation to a tourist tax, has he not seen that Ian Edwards, the chief executive of the Celtic Manor, has recently said, along with everybody else in the industry, "I was stunned by news of a proposed new tourism tax for Wales being considered by the Welsh Government." He said that a tourism tax would seriously jeopardise our activity to continue to expand our recent growth as a resort and carry on making this valuable contribution to the Welsh economy. In the same sentence that the Cabinet Secretary uttered to me in that debate, which I referred to a moment ago, that there was no evidence of lower taxes boost growth, he also said badly designed taxes can hamper growth. The Cabinet Secretary has certainly announced a number of ideas for hampering growth in the Welsh economy. I hope he will reject them, these ideas.
Well, so little for me to add to what I've said earlier on this whole matter. We're having a debate about different possibilities that exist for Wales. The views of anybody who has a view are welcome, whatever they may be, and we will take them into account when we come to make our decision. We will take the views of Celtic Manor into account. Welsh Government is a very significant investor in Celtic Manor. It has received many millions of pounds in direct aid from the Welsh taxpayer. But we will take its views into account alongside anybody else's. That's the point of having a debate.
Yes. Well, I appreciate that the Cabinet Secretary has an open mind, and he's not in a position today to announce any final decisions, because that's the whole point of a consultation process. And I appreciate that, having put £22.5 million into Celtic Manor, he should want to get a good return on that investment, and therefore I hope that that's going to inform his decision-taking in this respect as well. Because Ian Edwards said further in the article that I'm quoting that adding an extra cost to staying in Wales would have just as damaging an effect on attracting business events as it would on attracting leisure visitors. Securing large conferences and association meetings is a very competitive sector, and an additional tax on the thousands of delegates who attend these events will be a significant deterrent to those considering Wales as a venue. So clearly, this is a vitally important issue for the whole of the hospitality sector in Wales, and the sooner we announce that we're not going to go ahead with a tourist tax, the easier it will be for them to relax and sleep in their bed.
Llywyd, I hear the case that the member has made. He will be aware that others make a very different set of propositions. Other people would say that taking a very small amount of money from people who are clearly not short of money, they're coming to stay in the Celtic manor, that a very small addition to their nightly stay would create a pool of money which could be further invested in enterprises like the Celtic Manor and other tourism possibilities that would attract more people into Wales in the future, and that investment of that sort, delivered by people who, after all, are enjoying the benefit of all the investment that the public purse has made in that sector, that is not an unfair thing to ask of them, and actually creates a benign cycle in which small amounts of individual contributions are aggregated and allow significant new investments which benefit the industry to be made. Now, I am not saying that the Welsh Government has come down on either side of this argument. All I'm saying is that in this area, as in all others, there are many competing analyses of what would work best, and the point of having a debate is to allow all those arguments to come out into the open and then to be properly weighed up.
Cwestiwn 3.